If you haven't seen it yet, Elon Musk has just released a pretty surprising and outstanding demonstration of AI-controlled robots. We are in the dawn of AI right now, at this time. I'm not one of those people telling you should be scared, but I do think that we should be taking AI very seriously. To start, I should probably give some context. And the best way to do that is to tell you a little bit about the world of technology from my perspective growing up. We had a computer in our house, but my parents didn't really want me on the computer all the time. They were protective parents, as parents should be. Me and my sisters, we'd find like games, like 1,000 games, different websites that would have games that you could play on the computers. And that was what I used the internet for growing up. I'd use it to play like flash games. Well, it wasn't until like 3rd grade when my teacher, Mr. Fitzgerald, told me about another website called YouTube. And he told me about a funny video that I could watch on this website called YouTube. And it was the first time I ever heard of the website. Being a connoisseur of comedy at that age, I loved funny things. I loved anything that could make me laugh. That jumped my ears really quick. Right when I went home from school, I searched YouTube. I made sure to like remember YouTube to search it on my computer when I got home. And I looked up the video he was telling me about, which was Charlie Bit Me. And that was one of the first videos I watched on YouTube, probably the first video I watched on YouTube. And after that, to me, YouTube became an outlet for me to find funny videos. Every time I got home from school, I would try to get on YouTube to find funny videos. YouTube was probably the first technological advancement, maybe the first social media that I really saw develop. Not only did it change who I was as a person, but I also saw how it changed just the way people would look for information and entertainment. To make my point that I'm trying to make here, when I was a kid, other kids would actually go outside. Or they weren't talking to each other about like the internet. The internet was kind of the type of thing that nerds would talk about when I was a kid. And as I've grown up, I've seen the internet become more of something that people would talk about over other things. Around 2012 is where that shift happened, where kids were born on devices. They didn't find real things to occupy themselves with. They found the internet. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily a good or bad thing. However, what I am saying is that it becomes a bad thing without the balance. My question for you guys, if you're watching this video and you're not sure if you agree with me, is what do you think will happen 20 years from now when every single person is raised on a more advanced and developing technology and they become less and less connected to reality? How do you think humanity will change? Obviously, the human body, the human structure, the human brain cannot evolve to the degree that technology evolves. So as we keep making better and better technology, more entertaining services, more things for more people, do you think that would be damaging for us? Do you think it'd be good for us? I remember it took about 10 years to go from an iPod Shuffle to an iPhone with advanced social media and advanced platforms that have their own AIs that make the platform more appealing to the viewer. And right now, we are just starting to create the fundamentals of AI, artificial intelligence. We are just now starting to make AI complex enough to control humanoid bodies in a human-like manner. And so, if technology could advance so much in just 10 years, we could have fully complex artificial intelligence within the next 5 years. and we could have that AI implemented into robots that do real life services for human beings. That could be a reality. But what happens if we're too fast with making artificial intelligence, and that artificial intelligence eventually loses our control and then develops a mind of its own, and then decides that humanity as a whole interferes with its objective goals? This has been talked about a lot, that it could have, technology, AI could advance so fast and so quick that humans eventually become eradicated and just deleted by these complex programs, robots, artificial intelligence, that they could just completely eradicate and delete us in moments. I think that there's a more likely outcome that could happen. You see, over time with these algorithms and artificial intelligence, where they can create feeds for you that are completely constructed around your personal tastes, your personal interests, people have very obviously become addicted to social media. And I don't blame them. There's literally artificial intelligence made to make those apps as addictive to you, or I guess addictive for you is what they would say, as they can. And what I've noticed with jobs and work is becoming increasingly more mindless. Jobs aren't what they used to be. 50 years ago, the average job involved manual labor. You were actually expected to use your physical body to get the job done to a much higher degree. Now we have machines that can do the physical labor for us. It's lots of jobs that are becoming more and more simplified, and I predict that in order to compete with labor costs, all jobs are eventually going to have to simplify their labor so that just about anyone can do the job, and leave the more complex work to artificial intelligence and robots and maybe specialized individuals, which will become an increasing minority of people. Until I think eventually pretty much every job will just be monotonous tasks, very much limiting your ability to use your brain, use any kind of critical thinking skills, and then you just go home and scroll, so that the scrolling can do the thinking for you. Imagine how the world will be as people keep doing that for just years, okay? And then you have the people at the top who are still people. At least there's still people in charge of all this, right, at the top. And they're getting tons of money off of you by just being really easy to control because they know you're going to scroll at home and then come to work the next day. And you have nothing better to do because that's the only way you're going to pay the bills. But the people at the top will be people for a while, until eventually, what I think might happen, if we're not careful with artificial intelligence, is the AI will start thinking for the people at the top. The people at the top might think, why do I have to come up with all these solutions when I can have an AI who's much better at it than I am do it for me? And then once you have those people at the top who aren't even thinking like people should anymore, then nobody is using their mind. Everyone becomes mindless. Everyone becomes the same rudimentary worker that goes home and scrolls and goes back to work to do some mindless task indefinitely. That's the way reality could go if we're not careful with artificial intelligence. I think all of this is really ironic too, especially if you look at the way we're treating AI right now. How are the roles between human and computer playing out at this moment? Most of us would probably assume that the computer serves the human, and that's true for the most part. But if things happen the way I'm suggesting they might, think about how those roles might flip. That's the irony in it, is if we keep going in this direction where we have people critically think less and we have people just go home and scroll, eventually there might not even be real people like me making videos anymore. There will probably be AI making videos that already know what you'll be interested in anyways, and so they can just formulate anything to entertain you, probably better than any human can after a certain point. Pretty soon, those roles will flip. AI will take all the responsibilities that humans once had, and humans will eventually have no choice but to serve the AI. If we're not careful, I believe this could be a very real reality. As always, I hope you guys found this topic interesting. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have anything you'd really like to say, I'm all for it. If you want to leave a comment in the comment section below, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.